Leslie Langdon for Positively Me, Juliana Hudgens design team. And today we're going to be making a cuff for your wrist using Juliana's, one of her die template sets from Spellbinders called Jewel Goddess. And this is the baby goddess. There's actually one larger than this, but this size here is perfect to make a cuff. As you'll see, it's a good size to just wrap around your wrist here. So that's what we'll be doing using this modeling film from Studio 490. So all you have to do is heat that modeling film and it bends into place. And we're also going to be using some Ranger foil. It has an adhesive on the back, so it's called foil tape sheets. And we're just going to be using two of those actually, one for the front and back. But right now, all we're concerned about is making the top of the cuff. So I've already cut these pieces out, and right now I'm going to be careful to stick it right over top of the modeling film. And then I'm going to use an Embossabilities folder from Spellbinders. It's called Flower Fun. And I'm going to emboss a beautiful pattern onto the baby goddess. Okay, so right now I'm just smoothing out that adhesive and the foil just so it's nice and flat for us and it really sticks so that this piece of jewelry looks quite together and very well crafted. Okay, so there we go, and you can see it's still kind of pliable, but it doesn't hold its shape, and that's what you need the heat for. And we're going to be using some metal wires as well to keep our bracelet in place. So this is the Embossabilities folder by Spellbinders. This is a relatively new product for them. And we just stick our baby goddess in there, decide where we want the pattern, and put it face down. And you can see that pattern's going to be imprinted in the foil. So it imprints on both sides. You have one pattern there, and then flip it over and you have the foil that has taken on the opposite pattern, or the negative. Okay, so now it's time to really make this cuff nice and funky. We're going to add some colors, some solvent inks and alcohol inks. And this will just make this cuff more dressy. And you can actually use any color, obviously, that you want. There's tons of stays-on products out there, different colors. And the alcohol inks obviously come in quite a few colors as well. So I'm applying this stays-on with Ranger's Cut and Dry Foam. Just gives me a nice, even application. And then what I wanted the blue for is the base. I just wanted hints of this beautiful blue to come through, kind of just sitting underneath the alcohol inks. So here's a nice red that I'm going to apply in the denim. I'll start with the denim because this is going to be really the main color. So I'm just laying down the base. I'm going to spread this out just by, applying the ink, and then I'm going to do some dripping, you'll see. Just move it around by holding the baby goddess. Just really get it into the places you want. And don't worry if this looks messy because you're going to be adding some more alcohol inks. And they just kind of run into each other and blend, and they do all the work for you and make it effortless. So here's some red. I'm filling in the gaps, but I'm still leaving some of that blue because I really want that blue to come through. So it takes a bit for these alcohol inks to dry, especially when you're applying them in such a quantity that I am. You still see some of the denim coming through. And now is the time where you really get to customize the colors. So you can apply a little more red. You can go back and apply a little more of that denim. You can fill in some of the blue spots. You'll see later on I'll take some tissue and I'll actually lift some of that alcohol ink up where I want the color to be less dark, because it will dry see the shadows there, it will actually dry darker where the shadows are. So if you don't like that look, now is the time to take a Q-tip or piece of tissue and just lift up that color. It's also important to, if you're going to be wearing this a lot and this piece is going to get a lot of wear, you're going to want to seal the alcohol inks using something like Mod Podge. You want a water-based sealer, and you just brush it on. So some liquid glue that's water-based, okay, and that will seal it in. Okay, so here I am lifting up some of the color. I'm really customizing what I want my cuff to look like, keeping in mind that The middle section, see where the curve is, like say the goddess's waist, that's really going to be highlighted on the top of your wrist. Okay. All right, so every time I'm lifting up some ink as well, the detail of the embossing is really coming out on the foil. And it will have anyway once this has dried, but it'll just be darker, so less noticeable. So lifting this up will make your pattern that more, apparent. Okay, so I'm going to leave it there. I like the look of this. We still have to mold it into the shape of a cuff. So to make this easier and to make the piece more solid, I'm taking these are metal fibers by Industrial Chic. It's a product designed by Susan Leonard-Kasmer. And these fibers it's a nice thick metal. So it'll help when we fold it to the shape of the bracelet. It'll just keep that shape for us. As well as really heating up this modeling film, the black part of the piece. That will also ensure that it keeps the shape of a cuff. Okay, so here I'm applying a second piece of foil that I have die cut using the Spellbinders Grand Caliber and the Jewel Goddess by Juliana Hudgens. I'm just making sure that that's on as good as it can be. And you'll see that I didn't even have to keep those. I didn't have to hot glue those metal findings in place. I just put them in there, and the adhesive from the foil is going to keep those in place. It's perfect. Okay, so I'm just spreading that out, making it nice and smooth. This is the underside. It's not really going to be seen a lot, but it does look more professional this way as opposed to just hot gluing those metal pieces in place. Okay, now the fun part, we get to mold this in place. Okay, so I'm taking out a heat gun, and if you have something handy that mimics the shape of your wrist, that would be perfect because you don't necessarily want to use your wrist as the mold because it might get a little hot. Anyway, it doesn't get too hot, but I'm using a roll of, this is like the roll that you put in your pantry. You put that paper down, and I just had a roll of it, and it seemed to be pliable so that I could mold it into the shape of my wrist. So here we go. Just want to make it nice and tight. And then I just try it on my wrist and see if that works. See if it's a good shape. Okay, so I want it a little bit tighter. So I will just put it on top of that roll again, and I'll do some more heating, and I will just be working with this until it's perfect. Okay? It's pretty easy. Yeah, it doesn't take long at all. I think, from sitting down, you could probably get this done in 15 minutes. Okay, and the products themselves, besides the tools, are really inexpensive. Like the modeling film goes for about $4 for a pack of 3. And you could probably make 12 of these cuffs with 1 pack of that modeling film. And then the adhesive foil as well is quite inexpensive. And then you have your alcohol inks and your embossing folder and the die templates. But you can make so many of these as gifts. These can be your Christmas gifts for all your friends. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it and give it a try. This is Juliana Hudgens' Jewel Goddess die template turned into a cuff. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.